dynasty was the longest ruling Chinese dynasty. It was from 1046 to 256 before the Common Era. The Zhou dynasty made significant structural and cultural contributions to agriculture, education, military organization, Chinese literature, music, philosophy, and social stratification, as well as the political and religious movement. The culture they established and maintained for almost 8 centuries enabled the development of the arts and Chinese philosophy. If you heard the wise sayings of Confucius, he lived during this time. And now we have the Qin dynasty. The Qin dynasty was the first dynasty of imperial China, lasting from 221 to 206 before the Common Era. Imperial China started with the famous founding emperor, Qin Huang, and conquered and united 6 kingdoms to gain control over China. Also, during this time were the Terracotta Army. The Terracotta Army was inconspicuous due to its underground location and was not discovered until 1974. It is estimated that there were more than 8,000 soldiers with hundreds of chariots and horses. The clothing style during this dynasty revolved darker colors to symbolize the power of the nobles and people from the higher social class. And now we move to the Han Dynasty. The Han Dynasty was the second imperial dynasty of China, and it spanned from 206 before the Common Era to the year 220, which was 426 years. Spanning over 4 centuries, the Han Dynasty is considered the golden age of Chinese history. And today, the majority of Chinese people are considered Han people, and the Chinese written language is referred to using Han characters. The type of clothing worn and the materials used during the Han Dynasty depends upon social class. This dynasty offers more freedom to its people than in previous Qin dynasty, and there was tremendous growth in economy, philosophy, social order, and religion. We'll move into the Sui dynasty. The Sui dynasty was from the years 581 to 618. It was brief, with only 2 ruling emperors, but it managed to unify China from over 400 years of division between northern China and southern China. Sui means to follow, and people in this dynasty were very loyal. Culture and art flourished during this time. This was also when they used block printing, the Grand Canal, and improvements of the Great Wall of China. Was the second largest and longest enduring dynasty in Chinese history from 618 to 907. It was also the only dynasty that had a female emperor in Chinese history. The Tang dynasty is considered the golden age of cosmopolitan culture. Music, dance, and art became influenced by Western traditions, and clothing became more lavish and brilliant through bright colors and vibrant patterns. The Tang Dynasty was also the only dynasty that had a female emperor, known as Empress Wu. She reigned in Imperial China for 15 years. Dynasty was from 960 to 1279. In the Song Dynasty, foot binding started, and about 50% of girls between the ages starting at 4 would have their feet bound. They did this because petiteness and small things were considered beautiful and having a high status. People in urban areas enjoyed theatrical dramas on stage. Restaurants began catering to a variety of regional foods. Lavish clothing and apparel were sold in the market, and both urban and rural people engaged in seasonal festivities and religious holidays. Now to the Ming Dynasty. The Ming Dynasty lasted 270 years, from 1368 to 1644. During the Ming Dynasty, the Forbidden City in Beijing was built as its imperial palace. There were 14 emperors during this time, and the secret police known as Jin Yi Wei protected the emperors and later became the imperial military. At its peak, the Ming Dynasty made China a global superpower, influencing the known world of trade and culture. From an early period, the handcraft industry of the South began its developing rapidly, and here's when we started making porcelain. And here we move to the Qing Dynasty. The Qing Dynasty was known as the Manchu Dynasty, were the last imperial dynasty of China, ruled from 1644 to 1912. The Qing Dynasty was ruled by the Manchus instead of the Han Chinese, and they descended from a horse-riding nomadic people of northeastern China. The most interesting clothing items were the embroidered shoes, while the bottom of the shoe actually had a wooden sole. Manchu women do not bind their feet, and the most a Manchu woman may do would be wrap their foot tightly to provide them a slender appearance. The Manchu invented their own type of shoe that caused them to walk in a similar swaying motion, and their shoes were called flower bowl or horse hoof shoes. The bottom of the shoe is usually a platform made out of wood, 2 to 6 inches in height, and fitted in the middle of the sole. The women in the imperial court by status will wear flower bowl shoes and walk gracefully around the palace grounds. There are many customs related to traditional marriage and weddings was when it formulated during the Han Dynasty. A groom's family would bring gifts, and the brides would bring a dowry. Brides and grooms both would wear intricate gowns, and they'd play dances with each other in order to gain her attention. And it was traditional for arranged marriages to occur where the bride and groom often did not meet until the wedding ceremony. Matchmakers would arrange couples together to increase family social standing, financial situations, and reputation. There was also a red silk sash and a ball that signifies the union of families. To introduce themselves as a new family and a new couple. And whenever we have blessings, we also have the God of fortune. The God of fortune is a Chinese god of wealth and money. And he is depicted of a deity riding a black tiger and surrounded by attendants. He is usually honored during the Chinese New Year so that he will bless people with prosperity. The god of fortune could be called an early alchemist because he carries with him a tool that can turn ordinary stone and iron into gold. He is also believed to have been incarnated from a few historical figures throughout the centuries. And now let's have all of our dynasties come to the front of the stage. Let's give them all a round of applause. And let's introduce our dynasties one at a time. Once again, this is the Zhou dynasty, followed by the Qin dynasty, Han dynasty, Sui dynasty, Song dynasty, Song dynasty, Ming dynasty, Qing dynasty, our ancient wedding couple, and on the stage we have our God of Fortune. If anyone would like to take pictures with any of our dynasty representatives, come up and take a picture with them. We'll be out here for a few minutes, and in case anyone wants to take a picture, feel free to come up.